Well, g'day everybody. While we're waiting to see a few people pop up, I'm going to try and run this video. So let's see if it works. And if it does, you won't get a black screen like we had the other day. I'll get it rolling. It's rolling, but I don't know whether it's working. Nope. Okay, I'll hide me and see if you get the. Crikey, that was a bit all over the place. So I don't even know what you're actually seeing with that. We've now got the count off screen. I'll stop that. Stand by, radio. And now if this works, I'll bring Andrew into the screen. Here he comes. 1, 2, 3. Andrew, let me
Hey,
hide the numbers. Hey, good to see you.
and you.
So,
Good to see you.
yeah, that was blown away with technology. I'm not sure what's going on there, but anyway, we're here and you're there. Where are you right now?
I'm at home in Scotland at the moment, just on the west coast of Scotland. We're just kicking off our school season, so this is the start of the outdoor activities for the kids starting next week. So all the instructors are in, and we're just going over the sites and get everything set up for another season.
Yeah, okay. So just to clarify, we'll talk about your school in a minute. It's not just the school to teach kids
Yeah.
to maths and arithmetic. But before we do, so okay, so you're in the GGR. You've got a Saga 36, which is amazing, and you're looking very organised. So that's cool. But let's just go right back to the beginning. You've always tell us, where you've been living all your life or whatever, and what you achieved in your education, and what was your first job and how did you end up there?
Well, yes. Uh, I've lived in. I'm Scottish all my life. Lived in Scotland all my days, and we worked up. My wife and I had, when I was a young man, set up a data cabling company, and we ran that company for 20 years. Sold it out to a PLC. Bought an old. Bought an old nursing home that sits right on the water on Loch Long, and it was fairly dilapidated. We spent a couple of years restoring that, and set it up for an outdoor centre for kids. So school kids can come from all over Scotland, and we take them canoeing and climbing and mountaineering and caving, and work with so the class will come, the year group, or the class will come, the year group will come with their teachers, and we'll put up to 50 or 60 kids at a time for the week, and take them out with all the instructors and do all the different activities from them with them. And we've been doing that for 24 years now.
That's amazing. Bloody hell. That's pretty
I don't,
cool. And
I don't
so
know
what,
about
what, what,
amazing.
what yeah, what were you
I
a bookworm when you were a kid? What got you, what happened to you when
No, no, not at
you
all.
were younger?
Uh,
How did you get into sailing and do all this?
Yeah, it was when we sold our business, our commercial business back in '99. We were still, Margaret and I were still young enough not to want to retire. So, but we didn't want to go back into that type of commerce again. We wanted to do something quite different, and working in the outdoors. Also, I had a boat, and I was looking for somewhere to keep the boat, to moor the boat outside the house. And this came up. This was ideal when it came up.
Yeah.
Actually, what happened was I was actually sailing. We had a big classic boat at the time, and I was out sailing it in the Mediterranean. And a crew came out to join me and said, "You need to get in contact with your wife." And she had actually bought the house before I had even seen it, and it was
This
a
is the
lot more
school, not the house.
dilapidated
This is the school.
than yeah,
Yeah.
the big the outdoor center when so when I went back to, that was the end of my retirement, put it that way.
Yeah. Okay, but hang on,
And
you're still
24
avoiding
years,
the
we did it
question.
up in school. I think.
You're still
Go on.
avoiding the question. Tell me
Ah,
about your school life and getting into
yes.
sailing, and then the lead up to getting into a working career. How did that evolve?
Well,
Sailing and
I
stuff.
I went to school. I went to school in Glasgow, um, and left without a lot of qualifications. Not being very academic, very dyslexic, and so back in those days that it wasn't really recognised. Uh, so my father had an electrical contracting company, and I went in with him and served my time as an electrician, and then we set up, my wife and I set up a data cabling company, and we grew that and we grew that and we grew that. And we had an office in London and an office in Manchester and an office up in Glasgow. And in 1999, we sold that to a PLC company. But
Yeah.
my parents had
Yeah,
a boat, and so I was always
okay. So this is
sailing.
the critical part. I'm trying to find out about you and getting into sailing. So your
Oh,
parents had a boat. So when you were a
yeah,
kid, you
yeah.
started sailing, and then where did it roll?
Yeah, well, I wasn't. It wasn't optional for me. My parents dragged us along sailing, and that was all there was to it. We did from a very
Yeah.
young age. I mean, from about 8 or 9, I would think, when we went off in the boat. So it wasn't something that I discovered and realized it was a passion. It was something that was just hammered into me from a youngster.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
of course, sailing when I'm different boats. I had a boat of our first boat of our own, and then another one, and a different one, and a different one, and
Yeah.
um,
Okay. So
we
So where did the so okay, so you get into the school. So were you mountain climbing as well and you're into the outdoors as well, or that just evolved with the school?
with the school that I was at as a
No, the
child.
school that you're now running, the
Oh
adventure
yeah,
school.
we set that up. We after we'd sold the data cabling company, the computer company. We were looking for something. We wanted to do something else, but we
Yeah,
wanted to do something in not in that line of business, not in the sort of commercial side of things, more in the outdoor world and doing stuff outdoors. And Margaret found the house, bought the house, and then it was kind of, well, we've got this place sitting on the water. What the hell are we going to do with it?
fantastic. Yeah, yeah.
She
And
like
so
she loves kids and is into kids and working with kids, and so I just
yeah.
kind of went along
And so how many
as the
instructors are there?
janitor
How many
and
instructors
handyman.
how many instructors do you have?
The seasonal, but we've got about eight or nine instructors.
Far out. It's a big operation. And
Well,
so
it
what's it?
was back in the day. We're a much small post COVID. We're a smaller operation than we were, uh,
Yeah,
but now, I mean, now the it's really run by my son now, who runs all the operational side of things.
yeah. Okay. And yeah, that's really cool. Okay, so where did the GGR trigger come from? What happened there? You know,
Yeah, I think it was never something I wanted to do, but my wife decided to sign me up, and she could get rid of me for a
Hang on
year,
a minute. Hang on a minute.
double my
She
life
Come on,
insurance.
get real. She said yes, maybe, and then she signed you up. Surely she didn't sign you up. So your sailing mate said
Didn't
you
know
better
anything
ring your
about it,
wife.
John.
She's just signed you up for the GGR. Tell me
Yeah,
more.
she was like, "Oh, I've had enough of you. Off you go."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, joking apart, I had followed the 2018, I had followed the 2022, and I had, we'd sold our boat. I was boatless at the time, and then I said, "Oh, we could get a boat that would do the GGR." It's like a stream, a fast moving stream. You dip your toe in, and
Yeah.
you kind of get pulled along a bit, and then you get sucked into your legs in, and then before you know it, you're in over your head, and there's no
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no
So
way out.
you've had it. You're finished.
Still
That's right.
looking for a way out.
So the good news is I'm looking forward to meeting your wife actually because I'm quite certain you're not going to get divorced over it because that's obviously accused me a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but did you go looking for a Saga or you just stripped over a Saga?
No, I didn't. Uh, Mark Slats had said
Yeah,
once that if he was doing it again, he would want to do it in a Saga. and that kind of got my interest because there was somebody who had done it, who and was
Yeah,
thinking about it, and so when I went looking for that, it's hard. It's hard to find a GGR boat.
a good one. Yeah,
So many of them are not so many boats that qualify are in quite poor condition, and they need a lot of work and
yeah,
time and money. And because I was still working, time was going to to devote so much time to it was going to be difficult. Uh, and just this boat came up, went down to look, and I had looked at quite a lot of boats before this, and this boat came along. I looked at it, and right away I knew that
yeah.
this was the boat, and it only literally been on the market a few days.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's like Mara did the same thing. In fact, Pat did as well. I sort
yeah,
of found Pat's boat because I was always interested in sagas as well. And then Pat bought that and it was a steal. And then
yeah,
Mara, one came up. There was a few people talking about it, and Mara got onto it. And it's a glamour boat. Like as in value for money. That was a good one.
yeah.
So yeah, they're a hot boat for sure.
Yeah, they're good. Mara's boat and my boat. I was the last Saltham's the 36 built, and Mara was the one before that. And
Yeah,
both of these boats were built for the owners of the yard that built them, and it was their retirement projects. So Mara was built
unbelievable.
the year
Yeah,
before mine, and then mine was built the following year, and the two. And that was the end of the. Well, that's when the yard closed down, and the owners.
value for money was crazy because replacement value on that boat that Mara got, and probably yours is the same, is about 450,000 euro.
Yeah.
You wouldn't build it for 450,000.
No, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress, but yeah, you've got a hot boat, so you're happy with it, obviously, and
Ah, great. Absolutely great.
so you're a racing guy or you're a cruising guy?
No, not at all. Not racing. I haven't been. I've never been terribly successful at the racing. But I like ocean passages.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
very much ocean passage and big long sails.
yeah. Well, that's the point. You don't want to go slow, you don't want to go fast, and you've got to finish to win it anyway. And,
Yeah.
and so, have you been talking to your mate Pat over the river there?
Yes. Last year, or maybe even earlier, maybe in the year before that, I went out to visit Pat in Dingle and stayed on the boat, and we had a few jars together in the town. Took us about a week to recover, as I remember. But yeah, so yes, he's a good guy, Pat. Good guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So where are you at in terms of your planning and preparation at the moment? You're on track. You're doing, or you're a bit behind, or whatever.
And no, I'm definitely on track. The boats, it's I spent the winter there with it inside a shed, just to be able to carry on working through a Scottish winter, and we're pretty good now. There's always things to do, Don. It's never it's never ending. I could easily spend another year getting it ready,
Yeah,
and it still wouldn't be it
yeah.
still wouldn't be ready. So you just got to keep at it. But I'm pretty much there.
Well, I hate to tell you this, when you get it all ready and
Yeah.
there's nothing more to do, that's when you get worried. You know, I've seen that, and it's happened to me. You get everything prepped and it's all done, and you're 4 days early, and you think, "Oh, what's going to go wrong? What's going to go wrong?" But anyway, so that's good to see. So when are you going to do your qualifier? What's the plan there?
Well, I had planned to do the qualifier last year, but this guy came up with this idea that you would double the mileage that was required,
Yeah.
and so it kind of went from a 3 week trip to a 6 week trip, and because I
Hang on,
wasn't
the boat's
expecting
not
that.
that slow. It's only 4,000 miles. Jeepers, the 580s do over 1,000 miles a week.
Well, it's a slow boat, the one I've got. So no one needs to worry about me. I'll be this
Yeah,
slow boat. Yeah, but that kind of got me. That kind of knocked me back a bit. That being said, I hadn't done a lot of miles in the boat prior to that, so I was able to get out and get my 2,000 solo miles, clocked off and done.
yeah,
So I still have my, as you say, my qualifier to do, and the plan is to leave beginning of May
yeah,
and head south into the down to the towards the Canaries and out to the Azores and then back to Scotland again.
yeah, yeah. So, well,
It
that's
would
cool.
be nice to get, the plan would be nice to get back up to Scotland for the beginning of July. The Clipper, Knox Johnson's Clipper boats come into Oban on the
Yeah,
west coast of Scotland then, and it would be nice to be up there to meet them, and then after that to scoot on down to Sabdalon.
yeah. Well, that sounds like a plan. You
Yeah.
got the right timing, and it would be fun.
It
Robin would
would
be happy to
be,
see
yeah.
you.
The timings never quite seem to work out as the. It's easier to write. It's easy to write them down on paper, and then reality comes along and then just screws it all up.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, and so there's nothing on the wanted list for you. You've managed to set your boat up exactly the way you'd prefer to do it, or you because budget is always an issue, getting ready to go. But
Yeah,
you're
but
happy with
budget's hard. Budget's hard, particularly at the end now here when you're having to buy all the equipment, all the safety gear, all the stuff, and get all that stuff. But yeah, I think we're pretty much there. We're
yeah,
pretty much there. There's always more stuff I would like. I'd like a different say. It goes on and on and on. But
yeah.
we're good. We're good.
So I should ask, what's your wife's name again?
Margaret.
Margaret. So what's Margaret thinking at this stage of the game? Because she's integral to what's going on. I can see.
Yes, yes, she did. She's been a great. She is not. She is a great support. She's very,
Yeah,
very keen on helping me and making me sure. What she says that life it'll be difficult if I when I go, but it would be impossible if I didn't. Life would be impossible if I didn't go.
yeah. Have you
So
got kids? Have you got
yeah,
kids?
yeah.
What do the
Four
kids think?
two kids, four grandkids.
Oh, jeepers, grandpa. Okay. So, what do
Yeah,
they
four
think of the
grandkids
deal?
all at school.
Do they? Do they?
I'm an old man, Don.
I know you and me both. No, I'm actually only 31. I'm young. But what do they think of what's going on? Do they comprehend what's about to happen?
Yes, they do. The youngest one probably not, but they range from 12 down to 5. So they're yeah and the older ones love sailing.
Yeah,
They love it. So very keen, very
yeah.
interested in what's
And
going
so
on.
that they all coming over to the start.
Um, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's school time,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'd need to get them out of school. So it would be good if they did, but
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
So, what do you see as your biggest challenge between now and I forget the start during the race? Assume you've started the race, okay,
Yeah,
and you've now headed in a full circle back to La Sable d'Olonne. Where do you see the biggest challenge?
yeah. Um, I, it's hard. It's hard to know, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of you think these things up. You try and think of what's going to make it difficult, and allow for that. But that's not what pans out. So I think it's a question you need to ask after I've finished and ask me what my biggest challenge was when I finished it. But clearly, worrying about breakages is a big issue. Worrying about breakages and things that you can't, that you
yeah.
can't fix.
But yeah, you've
I've
got
got
the
a,
you've got the advantage of having the ability to review everything that happened in 2018. You will have
yeah,
seen the Voyage of Madmen, the film of the 18 race, and then
yeah,
you would have seen what happened in 22 as well. What's your takeaway from all of that?
yeah. There's more and more data coming through all the time from the 18 race and the 22 race, and I mean, so the obvious big issues from that were the anti-fouling on the boats, how you're fouling the boats, and self-steering gear.
Yeah,
What's going to happen with the breakages on that, and I, I've got a good relationship with Ian Herbert Jones, and we've been talking a lot, and he's been giving me some pointers as to what might go, what will break, what might break, what might not, what things that he didn't expect to happen and were happening. So that's been very interesting.
yeah.
Excellent.
So what wind vane are you using? I forget now. You got a hydrovane, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a hydrovane and I've got a spare head that
Oh,
I'll
that's
take
exactly what I was going to say.
a complete
And
spare head.
my
Uh,
take on it is that you have to have a spare complete head because
yeah,
every time someone lost their rig, they lost their wind vane because the
yeah,
heads of the wind vane were gone. And
yeah,
if you can set a jury rig up with a wind vane, you're cooking with gas. You know what I mean? Everything's fine. But if you set a jury rig up without a wind vane, it's very difficult because you're super slow and you've got to hand steer all the way.
Yeah.
So a spare head in any wind vane is a good idea.
It's not new. So I bought a new hydrovane, fitted that, but the boat didn't have hydrovane before, so we fitted that on. And then a friend gave me. He had an older one, so it's an older head as a spare, but it's fine. It's good. It's been
that's cool.
So it's all good.
Yep, that's fun. Okay, and what do you think are going to be your heavy weather tactics? Because you would have seen some heavy weather up in Scotland in that part of the world, and that'd be nasty waves. They just get big in the Southern Ocean. Because have you been in the Southern Ocean before?
No, never.
No,
never.
Okay. Yeah,
I've never been I've never sailed across the equator, so all my sailing has been in the Northern Hemisphere.
Okay. Yeah.
And mostly back and forward across the Atlantic, quite a few times. I have a Jordan Series Rogue on board. I fitted chain plates for that, and I think I said on my Yachting Monthly interview that my Jordan Series Rogue and the Lieutenant Dan tactics would be what I would be employing.
Okay. Do you want to expand on that?
Well, you Forrest Gump. So
you
have a check that one out.
Yeah. That's cool. All right. And so, what are you most looking forward to? Sailing wise, you've already started. You're sailing around the world. What do you think is the highlight?
Yeah. I think so many firsts. There's going to be so many firsts. So many firsts here. Like first time I'll ever cross the equator. First, I'm at Southern Ocean and albatrosses following the boat. To me, is a big tick that would be nice to do. One thing, I'm quite keen with this. My whole adult life, really, in business, and I've been chasing destinations, thinking about the end result, getting there. How do we get here? How do we get there? And I've never really enjoyed the journey to a lot of these destinations. So my plan for this, or what I'm trying to do with this, is enjoy the journey as opposed to the destination. So the idea is I'm trying to enjoy every aspect of the GGR, of the sailing, and get self-learning along the way. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, absolutely. I should just warn you that don't let too much out of the bag, because Mara's actually watching. Okay.
Yeah.
Margaret's there. I don't know whether Pat's there. He'll stay under the covers just to see what he can pick up. So, do you see them as competition or fun, or what's happening there? It's good you got three Sagas there. That's quite a lot of fun.
It's nice. It's good to have. It's good to have three boats, similar like that, racing together. Mara was saying on her interview that she wasn't competitive and she wasn't really going to be racing, which sounds to me to be very against it. I don't believe you, Mara. Pat's keen to win, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Well, no one will want to be the last Saga, which is really interesting. But anyway, that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's cool. Did you put a new mast on the boat, or is this the original mast?
Yeah, I did. There was nothing wrong with the mast. It was a good mast that was on it, but it was in mast reefing for the main. And
you wouldn't do that.
Not going to do it. So Zed's made me a new mast. It's actually the same mast as Guy had in the 2022, and I know that took a tumble. He took a tumble with that. And it came up fine. So fingers crossed, and that won't happen. But they were very good. They've done a good job with it.
Yeah,
It's beefed up from the previous. We beefed it all up a good bit.
Yeah. So what about the isolation and the completely locked out of the family? All you get is an HF radio for long range stuff and talking to other entrants. Have you used HF radio very much in the past, the single sideband?
Yeah, a little, but it's been a long time ago. And I've got it installed on the boat at the moment. I've yet to get it working to the degree that I want to, but we'll definitely get there with that.
Yeah, it's really hard to because I was brought up on single sideband radio. So actually, before that, it was AM. Single sideband didn't even exist. But anyway, but yeah, it's very hard to find a station, and you've got a lot of interference around you where you are now. But you want to make sure you're trying to talk to someone or whatever when you do your qualifier. It's easier when you're out in the ocean. So because that's your lifeline. It keeps a lot of people sane. Otherwise, all you get to speak to is us on once a
Yeah.
week or once every couple of weeks for half an hour, or not half an hour, for 10 minutes to say g'day. But do you sort of think about that isolation aspect, that you're on your own?
Yes, for sure. But it's when you have no experience. So, I mean, I'm very happy. I'm very happy being by myself and walking in the mountains by myself and sailing by myself. That's all fine. But you're never really at that level of isolation that we're talking about in the GGR, and it's I just don't know how that'll. I don't think anybody knows until they actually have to experience it, just how they're going to react to it. That's part, I think, what makes the it exciting is the fact that you don't know how it's going to affect you.
Yeah, I agree entirely. You can't practice that stuff. You can't
Mm.
prepare. No use
No.
going to see a shrink, just to say whatever.
Yeah,
You just got to
yeah,
get into it. But yeah, you're looking pretty strong already because of what you do there. I can tell. So that's kind of what are you going to do for a relaxation? Because because as you probably know, when you're in a situation like this, you got to draw your brain away from the boat sometimes, to
yeah.
relax. Otherwise, it's all intense. Like, what are you going to do for fun on board the boat?
Um, uh, I've, I'll read. I've been trying to get a car tape recorder to fit in and I was going to get people to make up tapes and stuff for me. I've had four car CD players fitted. I fitted four. None of them work. Picked up four off eBay or Facebook Marketplace. They just don't work. It's been very frustrating. So the music side of it's taken a bit of a hit at the moment. Yeah, I like to read, but the time you take in, when I've been doing the solo stuff at the moment, by the time you take in the celestial, by the time you're cooking, by the time you do the maintenance, the day passes, and um, uh, passes quite quickly, and you get into that rhythm of the sailing, and yeah, I'm confident at the moment that I'll be
Yeah.
fine with it all.
You might have to buy a boombox. You can still buy good
Yeah,
tape players, small
yeah,
ones,
I can.
boom
Yeah,
boxes and stuff, but yeah, I couldn't do it without music. Although when I did my first leg of the BOC, I only had one tape.
yeah.
I forgot all my tapes. Anyway, that was horrible. Okay, so we've got the fun side. What about your fitness levels? You just going to go as is, or are you doing any fitness training? And I'm not suggesting you should. I'm just interested to know.
Yeah, well, I have been I've been pretty fit just from the work that I do because it's outdoors and I live in the very close in the mountains, literally just out the door, and I do a lot of mountain walking, hill walking, and stuff. So I'm reasonably fit. I've been lifting weights and one thing and another. Um, Not fit like the young boys will be on this trip, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with my fitness at the moment.
Yeah, that's cool. Mara's just saying she's going to be at sea for the next month, and she's got a new radio, so she can call her on the SFB.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway,
But
um,
last summer, Par and I tried to call each other. He was a few hundred miles off the north of Scotland, and I was out in the west coast, and we tried to try, but it wasn't terribly successful.
yeah,
So
this is really interesting, eh? Because believe me, well, I'm not, you want to know how to use it. First of all, you got to make sure it's installed right. Everyone knows that, all the terminals, the earth, and the aerial and stuff.
yeah,
But you got to understand how it all works. The frequencies and how you do skip and things like that. But it's a lost art now. People,
what it is,
yeah,
and
it's
it's hard
interesting.
to find people who know how to set them up, and it's really hard trying to getting people.
Yeah, you need someone. Best one's ham operators. Even though we don't allow hand transmissions, they understand radios and they can. Anyway, but that's part of the challenge. Those that, so part of the course. So okay, and have you did you? What are you doing about understanding and comprehending the weather? You only got barometer on board, and you've got a weatherfax if you want it,
Yeah,
and you've got radio forecast, weather forecasting, which you'll have to use your HF for that, or a good receiver. Have you thought much about the weather and how it interacts down south and all those sorts of things?
Yeah, I mean, think about it a lot because it's such a big part. It's so important, such an important part of it.
Absolutely.
Although there's not really a lot these little slow boats can do about avoiding it. So if you're, it's I won't have a weather fax on board.
Yeah.
I'm not going down that road, uh, and so I kind of feel that you're going to get what you're going to get. You know, it's what's coming for you is coming for you, and there's not a lot you can do about about avoiding it. It's not like the Vendée Globe where you can outrun it or you can drift along. It's kind of you're going to get what you're going to get. So it's about
Yeah.
being prepared for what's coming. I think is the key factor to this.
Yeah, and knowing what's coming. Do you study pilot charts and stuff and understand the doldrums and the highs and lows down in the Southern Ocean and how they interact and everything?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we
Okay.
have all the pilot charts for the trip for the different months of the year, the currents and it all.
All that. Yeah.
Talking to different people now recently, there's quite a bit of flux now from the norm of what in the past hundreds of years has
Yeah.
been the case. There's kind of whether it's global warming or whatever. There seems to be a bit of deviation from the certainties of the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about your navigation, celestial? Have you been a celestial man for a long time, or you had to learn it for the GGR? And how do you feel about that now?
No, I was a celestial man before, for the GGR. I've been practicing it and I'm working with it again. But yeah, I've been doing it for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. What interestingly, and I think Mara touched on this and what she was saying as well. I've always had the GPS in order to check
Yeah.
calculations, and then to know whether I was, how far out I was or not. But without it, yes, it's kind of harder. You just, you don't know exactly. Do you trust yourself enough? It's be fun. It's good fun.
Yeah, it's been a big, the thing that blew me away. I had a guy contact me a couple of days ago, or couple of weeks ago. He was wanting my advice on buying a sextant, and I said, "Oh, it's you just get onto eBay or do this, that, and the other, and you'll pick something up." And I was completely gobsmacked because the last sextants I bought was in 2022, and they were normal. Honestly, since 2022 to now, secondhand sextants have doubled in price. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. The increase in cost is crazy because all of a sudden, celestial navigation taking off. People are starting to say, "This is fun. We should get a second." I couldn't believe it. I fell off my chair when I
Yeah.
started to try and find a sextant for him. I thought, "Crikey, look at this!" Exactly, because I bought a couple of Freiburgers, 3 years ago. Now they're double the price. It's unbelievable. Anyway, so it's a sign of the times. It's an art and science, as I said the other day, but it's good fun. So that's cool. All right, I'm going to get straight into a couple of crazy things here now, just to try and get behind who you are and so on. First thing I'm going to do is throw some word associations at you. You would have seen it. I'm going to mention words, and you just say the first thing that comes into your mind. Okay?
Careful.
You ready to go?
Okay.
Rightio. Help.
Help me. The EPIRB.
Starlink.
I don't want that. That's the devil.
Loser.
Oh, that's such a terrible word. There's no losers in this. We're all learners.
Dreams.
Yeah. To pursue the impossible dream.
Southern Ocean.
There be monsters down there.
Inspiration.
Yeah, get it where you can.
Hunger.
Enjoy it. Enjoy the
Lonely.
feeling. Sorry.
Lonely.
Don't let it get to you.
Fear.
Get to know him.
Money.
Must be funny in a rich man's world.
Cape Horn.
Yeah, there's the goal. That's the one to meet him.
Speed. Speed.
Distance over time.
Albatross, rather.
That's the joy. Looking forward to the joy of sailing with albatrosses following me
Sleep.
whenever you can.
Panic.
Uh, doesn't help. Don't do
Father.
that. Father, yeah, lost my father a few years ago. I miss him.
Holidays.
That don't have them.
Weather.
Yeah, you get what you get, as we were saying.
Risk.
Mitigate it and take it.
Family.
The meaning of life.
Death.
It's coming to us all.
Excitement.
Uh, yeah, take it when you can.
Overboard.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't allow that.
Woman.
Uh, my wife, Margaret. The kids,
You nearly said the wrong thing
yeah,
then. Kirsten.
yes, trailblazer. An example setter.
Suhaili.
Um, the first of the few.
Clean sheets.
Ah, wouldn't that be nice? Are we looking?
Okay.
Are we looking for them at the end of it?
Yeah. All right. Well, that was a bit of fun. Right. Now we've got a bunch of questions here. You get to choose the question. You just got to say a number between every group of 10, basically. So pick a number between 1 and 10. Some of these questions might be totally crazy, but that's part of the deal.
8.
8. What do you know a lot about?
What do I know a lot about? I know a lot about being cold and wet.
Cold and wet. Okay. um, between 11 and 20.
18.
18. What's the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning?
Check the time.
Okay. 21 to 30.
23, my number.
23. What's your favorite bird and why?
Well, we'll call it the albatross just now as we were talking about it, because I'm in the albatross in the hope that I'll see one in the Southern Ocean.
Okay. All right. 31 to 40.
36.
36. Do you follow your heart or your head?
Ooh. A mixture of both.
Mixture of both. That's taking a 50% odds. Okay. 41 and 48.
46.
46. What's your biggest fear and why?
My biggest fear is something happening in the family when I'm out when I'm in the race and I can't help.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fair enough. And would you want to know or would you not want to know until it's over?
Ooh, I think that depends on what on what's going on. I think that would be obvious when the
time comes.
When the time comes.
Okay. So now it gets really crazy again. So you need to pick a letter between A and N.
B.
B. Is cereal soup? And why?
It definitely isn't. Cereal in general is really bad for you. Soup in general is really good for you.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, I'll give you another question there. Pick another letter between A and
N. H.
H. Are you a hunter or a gatherer?
Ah, well, there you go again. I'm going to plunk for the same answer here. Both again. You need to be both.
You need to be both. Okay. All right. Here's one. A bit of a twister. What's two things that you can never eat for breakfast?
Two things that I would never eat for breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cereal.
No, that you can't eat, not that you wouldn't eat. Two things that you can never eat for breakfast.
Right. Is this a joke?
Yeah.
This is-
Lunch or dinner? Anyway, that was the answer.
okay, okay,
Okay.
good.
Um, Rightio. So that's that deal done. All right. And so you're about to do it. How does it stack up in the scheme of things in your life so far? You know, this challenge of getting into the GGR.
Yeah.
Is it one of the biggest things you've ever done, or is you just see it as another adventure, or like in life sense, not just sailing? Because
No,
probably
yeah,
the
it's
biggest is sailing.
it's it's definitely one of the biggest things I've ever done.
Yeah,
The the time and commitment to. I mean, I'm here now. I'm almost at the start. We're well on the way. But when I first signed up to it, I had no idea. Couldn't imagine the amount of time and commitment that was going to be required to get a boat ready. From a non a boat that hasn't been in the GGR before, and get it all ready and get it all started. And it was a much bigger commitment in time than I had thought it was. And also, yeah, it's huge. It really is big, Don. So definitely one of the biggest things that I've ever done.
yeah. And do you think it's delivering what you expected so far? Like, you would have
Yeah,
had an impression of why you're doing it, like to do it. Is it, where do you feel? You're anxious, or you know?
yeah. I'm anxious. It would be silly to say that or not. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm looking for. I'm really looking forward to it. And but this stage where there's all the pressures of the deadline. That's quite hard, trying to get everything done, all the boxes ticked off to meet the deadline of the start of the race. And I can just imagine the feeling of relief when once you start and it's just myself and the ocean.
Yeah. So I'll ask the stupid question. I call it a stupid question. Do you have a feeling of why you're doing this? Do you reflect on it and say, "Geez,
Yeah.
why am I doing this?" Do you understand any of that, or what's drawing you into it?
I quite like to be outside my comfort zone, and
Yeah,
moving in outside my comfort zone, and the learning experience that you get from that is it's an enjoy. I enjoy that. That's something I enjoy quite a lot. Um, and this is going to be well outside my comfort zone. So I'm hoping for a lot of learning. I'm I'm ho- I'm just looking forward to the unknowns, all the things that I can't imagine. If I said, "But I'm going to do another Atlantic crossing," I can almost imagine exactly what it would be like. But when
yeah,
someone's doing the GGR, I just cannot imagine. And I can't imagine what it's going to be like, because I have absolutely no experience of this the craziness of this, and that's the big draw. Let's see what is that going to be like. What it's yeah, I think that's a big part of it, a big part of the draw.
yeah. I'm with you on that one, because the reason I'm laughing is because I don't want to do the GGR anymore, because I see what's happened. Well,
Yes,
I was desperate to do the
yes,
GGR in the beginning, and fate
yeah,
took its toll, and it was really hard for me not to do it in 2018. I've got to tell you. And I thought, oh, I'm absolutely going in 22, but then I sort of thought, oh, things change. Life
yeah,
gets in the way, and you have a different perspective. And now I've lost the spark to do the GGR. There's a few other things I want to do, but yeah. So that's kind of interesting. And okay, so I understand the story, how you evolved into the doing the GGR, and you buy the boat just in case and so on like that. Once you decided to do it, was that final thing, yes or no? Was that hard to trigger? Or was it just, oh, I've got the boat, I've got that, yeah, okay, let's just put the entry in and I'll go? Or was it, crikeys, I've got to make the decision now to trigger and say, yes, I'm going to do it?
yeah,
Was that a hard thing? Did that last a
yeah.
week of back and
Well,
forth, or was it an
that
instant? Or
that was I remember the moment. That was the moment I had to pay the first part of the entry fee, and then it's like, boom, that's it. You're doing it now, boy. So paid your money, so you're doing it. And up to then, you can be like, oh, look, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But once you cross that line, it was we were all in.
yeah, was it a light feeling then? Because often when you do that, you think, oh, great, at least I know I'm doing it now. But,
Well,
once you spent
there
the
hasn't
money and sent the form, what
there
happened?
hasn't been any buyer's regret so far.
That's fair enough. Yep. Okay. I'm just going to now. We'll just digress a bit here. I see there's a few people here who might have asked some questions. I'm just going to go through here. The video didn't work at the beginning. Great sales so far. Good to see another bloody another crazy Scott in the race. Christine's there. G'day, Christine. And Helga's there. Yeah, Helga's there. Got such a great boat. Yeah, Helga thinks you got a good boat. That's interesting. That's Mara, by the way. And I'm getting abused by Mara for giving a curry about that. G'day, Yvonne. And Mara, you can call me on the radio. Yep, got that. Christine gave a cassette player to Jasmine for the MGR. You can still buy, we bought a boombox for the Ocean Globe race on Explorer. So you can still buy something. So I hope you don't go without music. Everyone's got tapes.
Well, yeah, if anyone's got a car CD player, not CD, tape recorder player to send me that works, works. I've got a whole pile of ones that don't work.
Yeah. Okay. A few critical questions. Who's your biggest inspiration? For me, I have three things that three people inspire me. Who have you got an inspiration in life? Someone that's really inspired you to go and do things?
Bob Shepton. Have you heard? Bob Shepton, the Reverend Bob Shepton. He's an Arctic sailor and explorer, kind of the modern Bill Tillman, and mountaineer, climber, and he's and I said in my Yachting Month interview that he was an inspiration for me. And he wrote to me to say that he's 91 now and still sailing.
Okay.
So he reckoned I was just a boy and had still had plenty to learn. But so Bob Shepton is a big inspiration.
Yeah. Okay. So for you personally, over your life up until now, forget about your school that's running there. Forget about sailing. What do you do to relax, or what's your other interest in life? Is there been some other thing like collecting stamps or whatever?
Yeah, I haven't got a very big stamp collection, I have to admit. Like none. So no family. Family is the big thing. We work a lot. We full time working. Sailing, I have a motorbike. I'm not very good on it, but I have a motorbike, and I do a fair bit of stuff with that. Although if any of my motorbike friends are watching, they'll be laughing and saying,
"So what's the bike? What's your bike?" Because I'm into bikes, but it's another story completely. What sort of bike?
What I've got is a little Honda CB500 X that I've rally rated and put outdoor shocks and spoke wheels on it, and there's a lot of dirt tracks up roundabout us here that gravel tracks and stuff that I can go out on, and so we do quite a bit of that.
Yeah. Okay. And have you got a favourite thing, like a teddy bear? I've got a teddy bear that's been with me now every day, everything I've ever done since I was 20. A long lost love gave it to me. Have you got something that's your special thing?
No, I don't have
nothing at all.
No, nothing at all. Nothing
jeepers. That's a take on it. Crikey. Well, you better bring something, because one of the things when we introduce you to people in Les Sables d'Olonne will be bring your favourite thing and tell us why. So you better make us favourite thing before you get here.
I'll pick something up in the morning that I have to.
Good idea.
Do it. I'll create a story for it.
Otherwise, we'll give you one, because you'll absolutely get one of these bears back here.
That's it. That's it there.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's another story. Are you a superstitious sailor or a person with superstition?
No.
None at all?
No.
Jeepers. That's amazing. Yeah. Usually solo sailors are crazy on something.
Yeah. I'm definitely crazy, but I'm quite worked out what on yet.
Yeah. That's all right. Okay. Well, that's all cool. Anything you want to get across to your fans, say good day, whatever?
My fans.
It'll happen.
No, nothing at all. I'm not a big publicity guy, and I don't do all the social media and the publicity and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Final question: is Margaret close by?
No, she's not. She's working.
Oh, bugger! Oh, you keep her working. Hang on. It must be bloody 7 o'clock at night there now.
Yeah, it is 7 o'clock at night now. Yeah.
And so you've got kids in the school and stuff like that.
So she's working with the outdoor instructors. So the
Yeah.
guys are down there at the moment. The guys and girls are down there getting everything sorted, and she's down there with Andrew, my son, and they're organising that at the moment. They
Yeah.
gave me an hour off to go and have a chat with you, and then I'll head on back down there
Okay.
now.
Tell me about the boats you've got. What boats are you using and equipment they use in the courses?
Yep, on the courses we don't do sailing. We do canoeing. So we've
Yeah.
got Canadian canoes that we use on the water, um, and we'll raft them together. And if the kids are small, then
Yeah.
we'll put two of them together with a spar across them and work it that way. But we don't actually do sailing as an activity.
Yeah. Okay.
It's,
And so, are you going to at least get all your school students involved with what's happening? Like,
yeah,
do
I
they
have
know you're going to do this crazy race?
No, no, I have connections with obviously with lots of schools, but I picked the school that I went to as a kid, and my children went to, and now my grandchildren go to, and I've already been into them and given them a lecture on what's going on and what's happening with done a presentation to them on the Golden Globe race.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, that's all good because in fact I was working on the school program today. I wasn't supposed to, but I had to. I've got a deadline, so that's looking pretty good. So that'll be a bit of fun.
Good.
All right. Well, that's great, Andrew. Good to chat. So first, this is the longest chat we've had. Sometimes I know the entrance for years. We chat about all sorts, but we haven't had much of video chatting for it all. So that's good. So good to see your. My impression is you're incredibly well organised, and you come from a diverse background. So I expect to see you at the finish line. Touch wood. You got a good boat. So
I've got a good boat, that's for
yeah,
sure.
just don't let Mara get in front of you. Okay, just keep her down the back there somewhere. All right. Well done. We'll sign off on that, and thanks a lot, eh? That was really good.
Take care, Don.
Yep. Okay. We'll see you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Okay. I'm going to put this up to just sign off here. Boom, boom. Look at that. There you are. It's the first part of being famous. So, jeepers, now I forget who we've got next. I think it's Daniel from Daniel on the weekend. It'll be Daniel with his OE32. So, kind of fun. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you again later on. Bye-bye.